Welcome to the second Wheelhouse Talk. So glad you're here. For those who were not here last time, my name is Evan Crane, and I'm the president of the Cook Leadership Academy. So before we get started, you'll never guess what happened to my apartment last weekend. Well, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. I was in Florida. So, yeah. If you were if you were here last time, you would have understood that joke a little bit more. But so today we have the opportunity to hear from two entrepreneurs and designers. One thing I've really enjoyed about the Cook Leadership Academy is the incredible diversity in fellows and mentors. And I'm talking a little bit more than race and ethnicity. If you think about everyone here, who has the same life experience that you've had? I can't think of anyone who's had even really a similar life experience. And as leaders, I think that's a really important proposition and challenge for us. If you consider Ralph Hauenstein and all the hats that he wore in his career, he was a journalist, a soldier, he was in international trade, he was in manufacturing, and he is clearly very much still a philanthropist. As leaders, we have to lead people who we don't understand, who don't have the same personality. But as leaders, we have to understand what they need, what their strengths and weaknesses are, what their dreams and hopes and goals are, so that they can do the best work that they can do and make the greatest impact that we can do. So the next few minutes, I'm quite excited to hear from a couple people who approach life a little bit more creatively than I might. And with that, I'd like to introduce Jen Ozar, Vice President, to introduce our speakers.
Hello and welcome again. I'm very excited to introduce our speakers today, Anne, Vidro, and Menda Wright. Anne and living up to the definition of a dynamic duo, truly they are. Their energy is so infectious. Anne and Menda have been inspiring the vision of branding and merchandising in their business, Creative Studio Productions, over the last 7 years. With clients such as Steelcase, Helen DeVos Children's Hospital, and the Grand Rapids Triathlon, it's no wonder they were finalists through the Grand Rapids Business Journal for the top women's business in 2013. Their servant leadership style transforms their work with others. They've wrestled with risks and, excuse me, I'm sorry. They never lose sight of their passions. Please welcome Anne and Menda.
Thank you, Jen. Appreciate that. Well, we are really excited to be here, and it is a true honor. And we just want to give you a brief background about ourselves. I am from Sparta, Michigan, Apple Country, and I went to Taylor University, met my husband there, who is a Hoosier, spent our first almost 19 years of marriage living in southern Indiana. We moved home to be closer to parents and grandparents, and my brother said to me, "You need to meet this woman, Anne Vidro."
Yes, so it was love at first sight. We had a mutual friend, her brother, and some other folks who introduced us probably 7 years ago. And at the time, I was part owner in another business similar to the one that we're in now. It was a screen printing and promotional company. And the majority owner of that business decided to close down the business and move on. And so at the time, Menda and I were working together. And we followed him for a couple years. But in a very short period of time, we realized that it wasn't probably the best match for us. And we just felt like we wanted to be more creative and kind of break out of the box. And we saw another vision. And so what we like to say is we jumped off the cliff. We always used to say, you jump, I jump. And so together, actually about 1.5 years ago, we decided to open Creative Studio Promotions. And it was pretty amazing because we had several of the staff members who were working in our division come with us as well. And then since then, we've also hired a couple of other employees. And so the really great thing was a lot of the clients who really loved working with us wanted to come with us. So we started kind of hit the ground running. So the different areas of specialty that we do, everything from the embroidery and the screen printing and the promotional items. We're going to kind of show you some of that today and give you a feel for what our business is all about. But as Jen said, you know, our leadership style is really, we kind of use the term servant leadership. And we not only serve our customers, but we serve our employees and we serve our vendors or our partners, we like to call them. So we'll get into some more of that here in a little bit.
So we want to start off with a game because everybody loves to play a game, don't they? And playing this game will win you a prize. So Jen, if you wouldn't mind helping me pass some of these out. Everybody gets a puzzle. And the puzzle, and show them what the puzzle looks like.
So what the game is please don't start until I cue the music, so no cheating. But you're going to actually take this little puzzle and you're going to turn it into a cube. So take it all apart, and once I cue the music, that'll let you know you can get started. But basically, this is, again, just an idea of a promotional product that we like to use. It's the way we sell it is it's light, it fits in an envelope if you're trying to get your brand across. That's really kind of, I guess in a nutshell, what we do is we like to help companies promote their brand by putting it on promotional items that people can use. And so this ends up on people's desks. We go into customers all the time. They're playing with it. Their customers come in and they play with it. So once they're all handed out. So today, as an example of how you can use promotional products to make it fun and exciting to share your brand, we're going to give you a few minutes to try to put this together. And the first one who stands up and screams and shouts, "I'm finished," is going to win a prize. And the prize today is also a promotional product. So we have a rolling backpack for you. So everybody loves free stuff, right, as Menda said. So it's not only like a luggage rolling I guess I'd say suitcase almost, but then at the bottom it's also a cooler that you can put drinks and things in to keep it cool, but it also comes off and it becomes a backpack. So this actually slides off and hooks. So, once again, an example of a promotional product that's very functional. So, all right, does everybody have a puzzle? Okay, we're going to give you a minute here.
Okay, hang on to them. Wait until the music starts.
Okay, hang on.
Got to play fair.
Our music guy?
Here we go. Okay, go. Okay, let's see if we have a record time here. I'm keeping track. We've got 10 seconds down. And there could be more than one winner, so keep at it. Even if your neighbor is ahead of you, keep going. Start up the music over. Okay, we're 1 minute in. We have a winner!
Woo! Okay.
Excellent. Well, Anne, give them a hint to the cube so that they want to finish it.
So as you're putting it together, the Creative Studio logo goes on the top and the bottom. So they are the opposite. So they should be kind of facing away from themselves. That'll get you started.
No, I'm sure they're going to pay attention.
Yeah, we do have. Do the second place? Yes.
Oh,
all right. Woo! We have another winner. Okay.
Okay. All right. Second place prize. Oh, our friend that we talked to about Duck Dynasty. There you are. Okay.
I'll pick it up at the end. I'll just set it right here.
By the Jersey guy. There you go.
So one of the things, thanks for playing along, guys. We appreciate the participation. One of the things we wanted to share with you today is our business model. And because we feel like this goes along with our leadership style, our business model is we focus on what we do well. And what we do well, we believe, is we service our clients and we manage the client relationship. We like to come in, generate new ideas for our clients, find out what their objectives and their goals are. Let's say they're attending maybe an expo or they've got a big customer meeting coming up. We ask a lot of different questions like who's your demographic, what's your budget, what kind of impression are you trying to make. Some people may not realize there's probably 5,000 different types of pens. So let's say you are an auto body shop that's handing out pens with every car coming in. That might be a little bit different than if you're handing them out to the board of directors. So it's our job to help differentiate what product might fit well with your brand for your purpose at the time. So as I said, that's what we focus on. That's what we feel we do really well. And Menda and I made a conscious decision when we opened Creative Studio Promotions whether or not we wanted to get into the manufacturing of the products. So as I said in the past, I had been on the screen print side as well. So we had all of the equipment and the employees and all the supplies, and we were worried about production schedules and things like that. And we made a conscious decision going into this that we're going to instead stay on the client side. And so what we do is we kind of pride ourselves in partnering with local companies who do the things that we want to sell. So a great example is our screen printer or our embroiderer or our sign printer. We develop very loyal relationships with them, and we promote their products. And so we aren't out there pulling the squeegee to do the screen printing or running the embroidery equipment, but what we do is we approach our clients on what might fit best into their marketing plan. So there's a lot of companies here in Grand Rapids that we use. We also have a lot of global resources, and so we just placed a very large order with China again. So whatever may fit the bill, depending on the budget, depending on the time frame, and again, what the target audience is in the product. So,
and I think you have a good example too. Anne, in her background, is warehousing, and that was a decision that we had to make. Do we own our own warehouse and pay for that, and pay for all that square footage? But when Susie is sick and can't pull orders, who's pulling orders? Well, then that's taking us away from what we do best. And we always say this, that we do what we do best, and we focus on that, and we let others who do what they do best focus on that, but we partner with them. So that's just been our business model from the start. Yeah. Okay, here we are not out to sell, but we're out to solve, and we're out to take a challenge and turn that into a success for our clients. So one of our good examples, we had the Director of Volunteer Services for Spectrum Health. Now, you can imagine Spectrum Health has a lot of volunteers, and their demographic is usually 55, 60, and older. So their challenge was first they came to us asking for ideas. And as we asked more questions, we heard one of their managers say, it's really difficult to get the gift to Mary, who only volunteers every other Thursday of every other month. How do I do, logistically, it's a nightmare. So we said, let us help you with that. We will build you, at no cost, a website in which the volunteers can log on, choose their gift, and it gets shipped directly to their house. Well, the other challenge was we have people who don't like computers or aren't familiar with computers, so we did a postcard in which each volunteer got a postcard, and they could fill it out, mail it to us because it was self-addressed. They could mail it to us, and then we would enter the order for them. And what was it, 85% did not go online themselves. They mailed the postcard. In fact, several put the postcard in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and then sent it to us, which was so cute. And what helped Spectrum Health was they were able to get a very accurate record of the addresses, because if you're going to get a gift, you're going to fill in the right address, and their record of all of their addresses had really kind of fallen off. And so they were able to capture that information, and the volunteers got the gifts that were shipped directly to their house, and you didn't have the logistical nightmare of trying to get each volunteer and when they volunteered. So it really was a huge success. We ended up presenting this to several other departments, and we're in the queue to build more of these now for different segments of Spectrum, just because it worked so well. It was such a turnkey process.
So as Menda said, I think the result was that it saved them a lot of time, which to Spectrum Health equals a lot of money. And also, the volunteers were so much more satisfied with the gift because they got to choose the one that fit them the best. So once again, as Menda said, we love the challenges, and then we love to provide the solution. When they came in, they didn't even realize that a store like this could be used in that way. So we love to solve those types of problems.
Good. And then we have another example we'd like to show you. This one we built for Steelcase. Their challenge was we have all these different lines, all these different companies under the Steelcase brand. How do we get embroidery to these employees when they work for Details or they work for Turnstone, and yet we want to give them a selection, but we don't want to purchase thousands of shirts and figure out what size and everything else. So we built an on-demand. This is a very different e-store. This is an on-demand e-store where they can log in, they can choose between colors, they can choose what embroidery they want, and they can purchase one shirt instead of having to reach a minimum of 12 or 24 pieces. So we partnered with an embroiderer right here in Grand Rapids, and we always try to keep the business in Grand Rapids. That's a big deal for us because we push local. We want people to buy local. So we partnered with an embroiderer who would agree to do one shirt at a time. Well, he's doing a lot of one shirts at a time. Believe me, it's been well worth his efforts. And we're able to, once again, have a turnkey program and a solution for Steelcase.
Yeah, in this store, a couple of things that it really achieved for them too is that we got to help them police the brand a little easier because all the product was pre-chosen by their corporate marketing department, so they don't have different people coming and saying, oh, well, you know, my husband's wife, right, sells promotional products, and they have this shirt, and, you know, we want to do this one. Instead, they've chosen a great variety, and they have a lot of choices to fit their needs. But the other thing is we also handle all of the overseas shipping, and so we just shipped an order to India. We did another one to South Korea for them. So again, that takes that off of Steelcase, takes it out of their hands in the marketing department and allows the marketing department to do what they do best.
And we do ship a lot of things overseas. Anne has that in her background also. And when our first order came in for Vietnam, we were like, whoa, we didn't even know this was open globally. But it was going so well that they decided to open it to the global market, or at least the global employees at Steelcase. Mm-hmm. And then another example, and these are just 3 different ones. You've probably all seen e-stores. You've all been on Amazon and different stores. This one, a large food distributor here in Grand Rapids, they have several sales. They have a huge sales force. In fact, 5 different divisions of sales folks that they want to inspire or incentivize through a gift program. But they wanted that gift program to be limitless. So how do you put products on the shelf and make it limitless? Well, we partnered once again with a company in which this is what they do and this is what they're good at, and there are 12,000 different items to choose from, ranging from something for the baby's nursery all the way up to an ATV or a trip. There's a trip on here that I think it's called a trip of a lifetime or something, and it's where you go in a hot air balloon and then you go on to a mountain and you climb the mountain, and it sounds really scary and fun and exciting, and you can win that. You can win that trip by earning points through this program here, and it keeps track and it gives the client reports, and there are all kinds of features, and I won't get into some of the specialty things, but there are a lot of features so that they can run a sales program and really get their salespeople excited. There's even some competition boards within the website. So it's just, and you can just see a glimpse of some of the things. There's that hang 10. That's the one I want to do right there. Right, Dad?
So if Menda hits so many points this year in sales. Yeah, and I guess it was funny, we were talking to one of the gentlemen here at the luncheon, and he asked us 3 questions. He said, do you love what you do? Do people buy what you do? And are you making money at it? And we said, absolutely. We love capitalism. I mean, we're here to,
Amen.
We don't volunteer. And we think it's important that if we're providing a good product, that we make money, they make money, that we, that's what we're working for. But it's also about the customer service and the loyalty, and that's what we focus on. And it seems like we've done that this last year and a half, and the rest has kind of happened on its own. I mean, I think if you do what you do well, and you love what you do, then that's going to come in time. I mean, success just kind of follows you then. And that's a great example with this e-store. The client that we're talking about, the food distributor, they believe the same thing, and they want to incentivize their sales reps to get out there and sell. And what better way to do that than to reward them? So it fits very well in our repertoire. The other thing is for those of you who may not realize, we're in what's called the ASI industry, or the Advertising Specialty Institute is what the ASI stands for. And we actually pay a licensing fee every year, and we're what you might call a wholesaler or a distributor. And so that's how we have access to all of these products. I mean, we have over 1 million products at our fingertips. A good example is a client comes in and says, I want to do a whiteboard, or I want to purchase a mug, or whatever. We have access, as I said, factories locally, but also around the world. And that's kind of our industry, I might say. So some of you may be going, oh, well, why are you selling someone else's services? How do you make money at this? And because we buy at such a deep discount, especially because of our volume, it's one of the other things we offer our clients is we place some very sizable orders. And so if a customer comes to us who may not be able to place a very sizable order, they still get the benefit of our volume pricing because we've negotiated some very good terms with our current suppliers. And you may come in with, let's say you want to buy 100 mugs. Well, if we've placed, 10,000 mug or piece orders throughout the year with a certain vendor, we're going to get very good pricing for you. So that's something else we offer our customers is by coming to us, because of our buying power, you're going to benefit from that. So that's just another point I wanted to make. Any questions so far on any of this?
And we encourage questions. You could win a prize.
Yes, if that helps.
We've got prizes.
We encourage participation. So the other thing we wanted to talk about with our leadership style is trust. One of the things that we have found is that by giving trust, you get you get trust. And there's a couple different kinds of trust that we've experienced that you can I guess, encourage. And, there's blind trust or there's earned trust. And, we don't give blind trust. We don't just, hand our blank checkbook out to anyone or people we don't know, or we don't just place orders with partners that we've never had any experience with without doing our research. So, the type of trust that we have is it's earned trust, and we expect the same both ways. I mean, our customers, the more they work with us and the more that they realize they can depend on us, the more the trust builds. The same goes for our team in our office. One of the things that, we realize is when you trust employees and then you empower them and you also give them the authority to make decisions, they're very able-bodied, responsible adults. And do we all make mistakes? Yep, you bet. And we always stand behind our employees even in their errors. And we help them understand, what maybe went wrong, how can we improve procedures. We try to stay away from that blame game or degrading mistakes. I mean, encouraging them to take risks and to make decisions on their own in our absence especially. So that's a big thing to us. And that's one of the things we really wanted to focus on in today's presentation with you is when Menda and I first started out, we also took a leadership kind of course, and it was associated with Stephen Covey, and we really found it struck a chord with us. And so we embrace these elements within their program. And so we thought we'd share that with you today of, how we decide what we're going to do or what we look towards for our company in the future and the type of characteristics or behaviors that we'd like to see not only in ourselves but in our employees. So these were some of the behaviors that as we went through the course that, like I said, really struck a chord with us. And I would encourage you to do the same, as you embark on your career, being a part of the Hauenstein Center and the leadership, to find something to attach yourself to or to follow along to keep yourself in check and accountable for how you're operating out there in not only your personal life but in your business life and your career. And I can speak from personal experience. I've been involved in businesses that were not a good match for me ethically, morally, all those things. But I still had to go to work every day. And how do you do that when they're making decisions that I don't agree with, that I have to put my name on the line and sometimes my signature? And when do you say no, and when do you give that up? And how do you make those types of decisions? Because they're out there, you're going to run into it. And so if you can find a program or something that you, like I said, can attach yourself to, I really encourage that. So with that, these are the elements I wanted to just talk briefly about is, so the character behaviors that he promotes is talk straight, say what you mean and mean what you say. Demonstrate respect. We talked a little bit about that. Create transparency. I like that term because it put into true words the way I felt, and that is, it isn't about did you lie or didn't you lie, but were you truly transparent with me, or was I transparent with you, or was I withholding information that was critical in you making your decision? So if you withhold, that tends to break down the trust. If you are very transparent, you'll find that trust increases. Right your wrongs. We all make mistakes. I've made plenty of them in my life, and I'm grateful for the grace I've been given for the wrongs that I did and that people were willing to give me another chance. So we always encourage our employees, if you've made a mistake, come out with it, get it on the table, let's deal with it, let's correct it, and let's move on, and let's see how we can prevent it from happening again. Show loyalty. This is a big one to us, not only with our staff, but with our partners. And that is that just because someone comes along with a nickel less doesn't mean we're going to switch our relationship. We're about long-term relationships and building that loyalty and being true to them and them being true to us.
And we've seen that happen. We've had a client who was actually found something on the internet that was, and I think it was a nickel. I think that's why we say nickel. It was a nickel less. And this internet company that they didn't know did not come through on the deadline. And we ended up air freighting in large, well, they were like my water bottle right here. They were large water bottles for an event. We air freight. Do you know how much real estate this is on a plane overnight? They ended up paying 3 times the price to get product on time. And we came through for them, and we were going to at the beginning, but because they found it online for a nickel less, it didn't happen, and they ended up paying 3 times as much for product. And we feel the same way about our suppliers, like Ann said. We are very loyal. We build a loyalty with our suppliers because we want that same thing with customers for us.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Many people don't speak about their success. They talk about having done something wrong.
You know, I'm going to give you the microphone so that you can, everybody can hear you.
Sorry. I'm asking many people who speak about their success, there is always a specific wrong they made right that helped them soar to the levels they are at. Would you mind sharing any specific wrong that you made right that really impacted your success?
Sure, yeah, I can share that. It was right before Menda and I got together with, opening Creative Studio Promotions. I was at a former employer, the one I shared with you that we went to for a little while, and that was exactly really what I was referring to is, a lot of decisions were being made there that I was incredibly uncomfortable with. Things that I knew were going on that were not only wrong but illegal, to be honest. And for a long time I stayed because I was making good money. And I went back to work every day going, I feel like I'm selling out. I really feel like I'm selling out here. Like, I know what's going on here and it's wrong. And so it really stirred my soul. And finally, some events took place where we decided to part ways. And it was the greatest blessing in disguise because then we started our business and it's just really taken off. And so sometimes when you got your priorities maybe mixed up a little or you're living in fear, and I feel like that's kind of what I was doing is I was scared to let go because of the financial side of things. And oh my goodness, really, truly, going out on our own, how would we pay for the office, the employees? Would I even get a paycheck, So that's a great example for me that I will never forget. That.
Great question.
Yes. So worth a prize.
And I think we should probably move into our quiz. Are we about 5 minutes out?
Oh, so we've got 10 minutes.
We have 10 minutes? Oh, good.
Okay, good. Good, great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
So some other things we wanted to touch on that we learned through this trust course or this leadership course that we had taken that we like to live by is deliver results. And exactly what Menda said about the water bottle. Customers know if they call us, they're going to get it. They're going to get it on time. They're going to get a good quality product. And so, as you know in life, I mean, when people keep showing up the way they say they're going to, your trust builds. Well, if they keep saying they're going to show up and they never show up consistently, you're probably going to lose some trust. So that's one of the quickest ways I believe to earn trust is just be who you say you are and do that.
In our business, it's so critical. Usually we're thought of last when someone's doing a program, then they go, oh, we should have mugs for that. And then they think we have a kiln in the basement that we fire up and we mold the clay real quick. And and if we don't meet our deadlines, and we've often said this and we say this to our staff a lot, if we don't hit our deadlines, we're not in business. Essentially, we have got to hit our deadlines. And so we have a big whiteboard with deadlines, and we've got reminders, all kinds of reminders about the deadlines written in red, so that we're constantly following up on deadlines.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The next one, get better. We talked a little bit about that. Even if you make mistakes, take a look at it, find out what you did wrong, and move forward. Confront reality. Same thing. I think it's, sometimes my background actually is I'm an accountant, a certified public accountant, and I worked a lot with small businesses who, they kind of live in a dream world. Like they have this vision and this belief, but they, they might be doing things that the checkbook can't afford, for example. That seemed like a theme throughout some of my experiences, and it was, wow, if we build it, they will come. And sometimes they do, but if you build it too big and you don't quite have anything to pay for it.
And if you're not Kevin Costner, then it's not.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So confronting reality and maybe even having someone in your life that helps you confront reality. And John Pike is here today. So
Wave
to my husband,
yep.
Take a bow. He is our business advisor. And so, in our world, we're working so fast and furious every day. It's great to have him come in once a month or once a quarter and we sit down and, we talk about reality. Like, where are the numbers? And are we doing, hitting the numbers we thought we would for the commitments we've made? So sometimes as a business owner, you can get caught up in the vision and those types of things and forget, okay, what's truly going on right now today. Mm-hmm. Clarifying expectations, that's a big thing, I think, with staff, with the customers that we have. We like to under-promise and over-deliver. Pad your dates, those types of things, just to make sure you're going to come through for them. So just clarifying and managing expectations and readjusting as needed. Practice accountability. I kind of mentioned that with John coming in. Holding us accountable on what we're spending or what we're doing and how are we marketing and our plans that we've set up and are we following through with them. So a couple other character and competence behavior I wanted to talk about too in building trust is listen first, which sometimes can be hard for me anyways. I like to get out what I want to say, but sometimes it's more important, and we have this a lot with staff. You may find that some of them don't have someone at home to talk to about their personal problems, and so we're fine with sitting down and asking them how things are going and trying to hear where they're at in their world. And once again, that helps build trust. Keep commitments, kind of the same thing as far as expectations, I think. Being true to what you say and extending trust, as we said. And there are different kinds. Again, it's the blind trust or the earned trust. And so by extending it, we find we receive it as well. So. All
okay, it's time for the game.
Yes, so more games. So before we get started, one of the things we wanted to share with you is just some of the products that we do. What we do, we love, we're passionate about it, and it's a lot of fun, and it gets the word across. And so it gets your brand out there in front of people. There's a lot of great products out there to put your brand on, and we like to believe we're experts in that. So some of the things we're going to talk about, we have some trivia questions for you just to show you how impactful promotional products can be. So are you ready? Okay. So even though you may not be a millionaire today, we feel these are almost as good. So you'll get a little gift bag. So can someone tell me what % of consumers could recall the advertiser on a promotional product they had received in the last 24 months? So what % of consumers could recall, hey, I got a promotional product from Fox 17, and I could tell you right now, that I'd gotten one, and that was 2 years ago. So how long of an impression does an impression last?
Oh,
a little bit less. We wish, yes, not quite 100.
Higher than that.
Yeah.
What else? Go ahead. Nope. Close.
Higher?
It's higher.
A little higher.
Yes.
A little higher. Keep going. You win a prize.
78.
Ooh. Higher.
Yep.
80%.
Higher.
A little higher.
Yes. Really
a little
close.
Higher. A little higher. A little lower. A little lower.
89.
You got it. Okay. Woo! We knew we'd get there. Okay. So if you can believe it, 89% of consumers can recall the name of a company that they received a promotional product from. So what that means to us in this industry, and hopefully to our customers, is if I hand out a promotional product, people are going to remember who I am for a long, long time, especially if it's a really good quality product. Now, when you compare that to some other types of advertising, and there's a lot of them out there, and we're a proponent of all advertising, radio, TV, print, newspapers, all that is great to market with. But in our industry, one, it may or may not cost you more, but a lot of times we sit down with the customer and say, what kind of a return on investment could you get for this? And if you're looking for a long-term impression, often promotional products is the key to that. So again, 89% of consumers will recall your brand up to 24 months later if you've given them a good promotional product. Yes, ma'am? I don't know that.
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
No, we should look that up. That's really interesting.
That is a very good question.
Because then we could say that to the client, too.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
What's the next question?
Okay, so what % of people have done business with someone after receiving a promotional product from them? And although you can't directly say, oh, because you gave me a promotional product, I did business with you, but there is a correlation between the fact that you gave them a promotional product and they did business with you. So we'd like to believe it's because of the promotional product, but there is a good percentage there. So who wants to take a shot at that percentage? Can you tell my numbers person? I'm an accountant, sorry.
The next question is not about
no,
percentage.
It's not. Okay. Any idea? Who?
Yeah.
A little lower.
Yeah.
A little higher. A little lower. A little lower. You got it. 62.
62, the girl in the
Okay.
yellow.
All right.
Oops, sorry.
So 62% of people have done business with someone after receiving a promotional product from them. So we like to believe that you hand out promotional products, people will do business with you. What is the most commonly owned logoed product in the industry?
Go ahead. Oh, close.
One more time? Sorry.
Who said pen? Somebody shouted out pen.
You guys, John and Andy. Okay. You did? Did you say pen? Okay. All right. Yeah, so a pen. I mean, it's still one of the top, still number one owned logo products. People who get it, they keep it, they use it, and they see your brand on there. So.
And if you didn't get a pen at your seat, we've got some pens up here. We want everybody to walk away with a pen and a pad of paper.
Yes. So, how many months on average is a promotional product kept? So when someone gives you a promotional product or you give one out, how long do you think on average people keep those promotional items? How many months? A little higher. A little lower. You got it. Shelley, yes. 7 months. So if you, on average, if you hand someone a promotional product with your logo on it, that means they're going to be looking at your logo for 7 months. So something to think about it if you are trying to promote a brand. And we tell our clients, again, how do you calculate the return on investment? How many impressions is this going to get? How many people are going to see it? And how many times is your customer going to be looking at your logo with a product? That's why it's so big as well in TV, just as a side note. If you notice, there's so much brand placement these days in different TV shows. I mean, Steelcase is paying to have their chairs on The Office. And Coca-Cola, I mean, there's a reason why I forget his name on Idol or whatever, is drinking Snapple or whatever. I mean, there's big money in getting your logo out there in front of people. It's because it works. Other than pens, what is the most frequently used promotional item? So it gets the most use. Yes, sir. T-shirt? Tote bag. You got it. Yeah. So if you're looking for a very usable promotional product, and that's a question we get all the time from our clients is, I don't want to give them something they're just going to throw away. So bags are, yes, sir.
Whatever happened to the calendar?
Still pretty big. Still a lot of people.
We do a lot of calendar orders.
We do. Mm-hmm. It is. I think it's still in the top 20. It has. And I think that's because of cell phones with calendars on them. And so it's kind of like watches. You just don't see as many watches out there with the cell phone now. Okay, so how many times a month on average are bags used? Since it's the most used promotional product item, how many times a month are they on average used? So if you give someone a bag, how many times do you think they're going to pick it up and use it per month? A little lower. A little higher. 9, you got it.
She got one.
So per month, you can count on your customer picking up that bag and using it 9 times a month. So again, they're going to be seeing that. And it's also the highest impression rate is a bag because as you're carrying it, the number of impressions is how we measure in our industry as well. It gets the most impressions because you're probably walking in a huge crowd, possibly with it in public. People are going to see it's great billboard space. We have clients who do, we just placed another order overseas for, it was like 20,000 bags for one order because clients get that.
It's actually 40.
40,000. Thank you. So, all right, good. Well, that's all the questions or all the trivia that we have for you to answer. How we can answer some questions for you. Go ahead, ladies. One of you.
Hi, my name is Kyla Cieslak. I was just wondering, what is the vision for the company? Do you see yourself adding on a brand consulting position in it as far as more marketing goes and more hands-on with it?
Great question. We have 2 different types of customers that we deal with. And the first one is kind of the corporate client who has a whole marketing design division. I mean, they've got a whole staff of people who manage everything from, designing not only their logos, but their campaigns. And we kind of fit into that with them. And then we deal with customers who have no marketing staff at all. That's the other extreme. So we kind of play that role right now as a consultant. We use different types of artists depending depending on the customer. So we may deal with someone who is kind of looking for a, let's see here, kind of a cartoony, fun type of a logo or theme, or we may be dealing with, let's say, a law firm who, you would use two completely different artists typically based on their style to deal with those types of customers. So for us to actually hire on a full-time artist, it would be tough to find one that would fit that whole gamut. So the vision for our company outside of just that portion is we definitely see ourselves growing very rapidly. I mean, we've just added another sales rep. We brought on someone full-time to help support administratively. Our team is very lean and mean, and like I said, as we grow, we outsource a lot of things. But we're on a very quick growth path, and we'd love to kind of keep it more of a family atmosphere, but we can definitely see where things are going in these next couple years based on some very substantial clients that we're dealing with, if depending on their orders. And we're pretty conservative when it comes to adding overhead. We recently were looking at adding some space, and when you look at things like that, you go, okay, well, you could either spend money on rent, or you could maybe give it to your employees, or you can invest it in marketing, or you can, how do you work all that? So that's where having an outside source come in and help you weigh those options is so important to help not only look at the vision, but live it out on a daily basis in what you decide on things like that. So does that answer your question? Okay. Any others?
Hi, my name is Olga. You talked a little bit about your employees, about the partners and clients. Can you touch on the community? Do you interact, or is there anything? Do you think it's important?
You want to take that one?
Yeah. We think it's very important. In fact, Ann and her husband are the co-directors of the Grand Rapids Triathlon. We encourage our employees to get involved in the community. One of our sales reps is a mentor to Bethany Christian Services. We do a lot of things. In fact, we try to help out nonprofits a lot of times, and in churches and people who come to us with requests. What's another community? I'm trying to think of some of the other. Well, we both are involved in the chamber and things like that. So no, we truly believe in Grand Rapids and want to be involved here. Yes. Good question. What's your gift?
So I guess when I first thought of screen printing, I kind of just assumed apparel. I realized that now screen printing goes on a lot of other items. But I'm wondering how you guys didn't really talk about apparel in trivia at all. So I have one question about where apparel falls in that kind of category of how popular it is. And then also if you've seen any increase in edible items with logos and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Great question. Yes, so as she mentioned, we do screen printing, we do embroidery as well. Apparel, dollar for dollar, is still the number one selling item in our industry. So
right, in dollar-wise.
Dollar-wise.
Not quantity, but dollar-wise.
Yeah,
yes.
Because, you can sell we do everything from some pretty substantial pieces, winter coats, with your logo embroidered on it, this could be a $120 coat. You'd have to sell a lot of pens to equal, $120. Pens are a lot less than that. So still, number one in our industry. So we find that, clients, the struggle sometimes with apparel is stocking all the different sizes and trying to figure all that out. And that's why we offer that one-off service, because it can be tough if you hire an employee. If you're hiring all the time, you've got new staff coming on, how do you know if you're going to place one big order per year, how do you deal with that and try to guess all the sizes that are going to be coming on and colors and all that. So
when you say edibles, are you thinking chocolate or mints, or what are you thinking as far as? Oh, okay. The mint industry is huge. We do a lot because there are thousands of different opportunities to package mints. And we just did another large order of these round ball mints that are being used in a program. Gum, all kinds of things. We have done chocolate in the past, like a chocolate business card size. Some of the difficulty with edibles is where it's shipping in the country and how it's packaged, and that can get... Now, in Michigan, we don't have the issue as much as... in fact, a lot of times when you talk to a vendor, first thing they ask, if they're an edible, where do you live? Michigan? Oh, good, we're good. It's cold there. It'll keep. But no, especially, I would say mints is probably the most branded edible item.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is Jeff. You guys talk about, Jen introduced you as the dynamic duo, and obviously that didn't happen right away. and your leadership style and working collaboratively with your community partners and such. But what was the struggle for the two of you working together in your own different leadership styles and the collaboration between the two of you and your staff? Could you just touch on that a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So we had kind of a nice benefit because Menda and I had worked together for 5 years already at a former employer, and through our tour there. So we kind of understood what our strengths and weaknesses were, and thankfully, she does things that there is no way I would want to do, and vice versa. And so we really complement each other in that way.
Numbers just fly right out of my head, and she realizes that on a daily basis. Well, it's $34.75 for that shirt. I don't know. With the account, and I grew up in a family that had a CPA, so I know. Yeah.
So we complement each other, and the biggest thing for us is we always tell each other we got your back. There are times that sometimes we compare it to having, a family, like we're mom and dad and we've got kids, employees, and, someone will come to me and say this, or maybe come to Menda and say, wow, and this. Well, we always say we got your back. We will always stand behind each other. And again, the
employees have realized that. I mean, it's amazing how you can see that happening within our employee group. They don't ever, after that first time, they don't ever talk to us about each other because they realize, well, that's not going to do me any good because she has totally got her back. And it is like a marriage, like what you're describing. It's like a marriage and a family. And that's important to us. And it's important that our family is well-fed, healthy, and emotionally stable. So those are all the things that we consider.
And I think the other thing that helps us is our communication styles and our personalities. And even though employees know that we are a team, we also try to cultivate a very, an open atmosphere to, it takes a lot of courage to sit down and go, wow, you guys are doing this and I don't agree with it. And I'm your employee and you're my boss. And, or hey, I'm concerned. And so we actually hold one-on-one meetings with our employees, or Menda and I with the employee. And we ask them, what's going well for you? What isn't going well? How can we help you be better? What's driving you crazy in your job? Is there something we can make more efficient?
And sometimes it's as simple as moving offices. How easy is that?
Yeah.
To get a certain work style doesn't, my work style is totally different from Ann's. She needs to shut her door, concentrate, and I need to be just talking to everybody all the time. And we found an employee who doesn't like that part. So she's got a closed door office now because she's an admin and she needs to, make sure the expediting everything. So she needed to have a closed door office. And it was as simple as finding that out, and then, production goes way up when you find out exactly what the needs are of your employees. But like Ann said, a lot of it is the transparency and the open door policy. Come to us with anything at any time.
And I think the commitment to the greater good, knowing that even though if I have to bring, even between Menda and I, if I have to bring something up with her, I might say, gosh, this is hard for me to say, and I'm not quite sure how to say it, but this is something we need to address. Or, wow, when you did that, I wasn't quite sure if that was the decision we should have made. What about this instead? And we've just kind of learned our communication style. So, we have, like I said, kind of a benefit in the fact that we'd worked together so long already, and so we kind of knew going in what we were getting into, which I've been a part of other partnerships. If there is one piece of advice I can give you today, never go into a partnership with someone you do not know. Know them for a couple years if you can, because I've had some pretty big doozies that cost a lot of money to split because it was a bad partnership and never saw it coming. So enter into very cautiously, and that's why I felt so good about going into this, because I knew Menda and I knew her family and she knew mine, and it was, like I said, it's kind of like a marriage. It's look at it that closely.
Are there any questions from the upper rows?
Hello, Michael Walenta with WGVU Public Media. A few years ago, Faith Popcorn had a book out, and she said there were something like 20,000 message impressions that we Americans are exposed to weekly. Any idea what that number would be up to by now?
Wow, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm sorry, I could Google it for you real quick.
You could have just picked a number and faked us all, but
yeah, okay. No, in my head, I got to believe it's triple that now. You think about just turn on the TV and how many impressions. Everything you have. The internet. You look at all of our apparel.
Those on your phone all the time, and we, in fact, a lot of our technology pieces are going fast. We've got a DigiClean piece that goes on the back of a phone. We're trying to cater our business to that. to that trend for phones and internet and things like that. So that's a good question. I would like to know that.
Yeah, it is. And that's part of why I believe in what we do so much, is because it's not just an impression. It's hopefully a usable piece of promotional item.
Tangible.
That people are going to want to use it and not just see your logo.
I think the answer is 80,000. We talked about it in advertising class.
Wow.
And then it takes 3 times for the message to actually get across.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So it has more than tripled.
It's quadrupled. Wow, that's amazing.
Oh, I see. Kathy's raising her hand.
Aerobics training here. Goodness.
Hi, in terms of leadership, I wonder about, it's clear that you have a really great working relationship, but in terms of leadership within your industry, how do you view that? Do you feel like you have a responsibility within your industry to share your, how your success, or you seem to be on the progressive end of maybe your, within your industry. So how is that going?
Yeah, actually, we definitely do. We are a part of the association. We definitely attend some large conferences. We've been out to Vegas, and we've been out to Arizona and Chicago, and so we attend our trade shows. We've also sat on panels. I was personally on a panel out in Chicago, so volunteer our time where we can give back to others in our industry. And one of the things that we try to strive to kind of change the view of our industry. Regretfully, there are terms out there like trinkets and trash and things like that. Well, we take a lot of pride in what we do, and we feel like these are great quality items, and we wouldn't sell trash, to someone. So we do feel, as in the industry, we are kind of seeing it turn a corner a little bit. Instead of someone coming along and popping open their trunk and pulling things out, we have a respectable office and professional staff.
But that still is the majority, isn't it? The trunk people, whatever they're called, that work out of their trunk basically and don't have an office. And one of the things that we're really progressive in are these e-stores. Really, no one else in West Michigan is doing what we do in e-stores. And we've found that when we went to the conference, and there was actually someone who did a discussion about e-stores, and Ann just kept raising her hand asking questions, and afterward the guy said, wow, you know about as much as I do about these e-stores. And we ended up actually partnering with this gentleman, and he's been one of our industry mentors that we talk to quarterly, because he's ahead of us. We think a couple of years he's probably ahead of us. He's been doing in the business a lot longer. And I also want to share that we went to Arizona, and we had 42 meetings in 2 days. 42 meetings in 2 days, and they were just 20-minute meetings apiece with suppliers, and it was really neat to be a part of that and to meet those people and to talk and negotiate deals within 20 minutes and then move on to the next one. And that was a really neat thing in our industry. So yes, we are very involved in our industry, and we volunteer and participate in our industry too. Thank you.
We have time for one more.
I have a question about role models. So I'm wondering if you two have role models for your leadership style or your business or your life, or how that works out.
Yeah. So I think a role model for me is, I've always been a huge Brian Tracy fan, if you guys know who he is. I listen to a lot of his tapes, and very encouraging and very positive. I also am a big Dave Ramsey fan, if any of you probably heard of him. So kind of his financial style. I guess leadership-wise, Stephen Covey, as we mentioned, and some of the points we went through. And then I've had different business mentors over the years. Some of the different business owners that I've worked for that, I was very fortunate to kind of be their right-hand person and watch their leadership style and, learn what they did well and what they didn't do so well. And I tried to learn from that too. So I always see any experience that I've had not as maybe good or bad, but just, is that the type of person I want to be? And it may work great for them, but it may not work so well for me. So I kind of have the motto of take what you like and leave the rest. And then, John Pike is definitely a wonderful business mentor to us on a daily basis in our creative studio business.
Yeah, well, I was going to mention John Pike first, but you beat me to it.
Sorry.
No, that's. But also, I've been doing this for 20 years, and in Southern Indiana, my client was Cummins Inc., Cummins Engine Company, and I went there every day, and I saw a lot of really great role models there, of executive role models. And even though I didn't work for the company, I worked very closely with them, and that was a really interesting to see several executives in a very large Fortune 50 company. And learn role model. They were definitely, and like Ann said, and we both have worked for, and Ann was my boss for 6 years, so I count her as a role model too, right?
Can we give him a hand?
All right. Thank you.
Keeping in tradition, we'd like to express our thanks with a Hauenstein Center themed
Giving us some promotional
swag
products.
bags. Filled with
Notice?
Hauenstein Center branded products.
Love it.
Wasn't that fun? I had a good
So,
time. Yeah.
All right.